Hey everybody, Weezum here. It is about 11:15 p.m. now, more akin to when I usually record. All three Scratch's videos fully edited, all uploaded. Just have to make the post, make them live on YouTube. That'll probably coincide with Smolder Dash's post. But as I mentioned, we were either going to go on to Blast Zone, Fire Element Swapper, or take care of Pop Thorn. I've elected to kind of keep it in line, Air Element Newlanders. We're going to go ahead and take a look at Pop Thorn here now. Pop Thorn, pretty interesting character. He's kind of got a lot going on. Earlier in, I guess last year, late last year, I ran the cuteness contest. It was, of course, Pop Thorn versus Wrecking Ball. Personally, I thought Wrecking Ball would come out on top based upon like the legions of fans he has for solely that region. That was not the case. He actually lost. Pop Thorn came out on top, so I guess kind of a changing of the guards there, if you will. But this is odd. I'm recording and I'm increasing space on the hard drive, which is not supposed to happen. Anyway, we'll just pretend that everything's okay here. That said, he of course came packaged with the Tower of Time. Me personally, I still think Wind Up should have been in the Tower of Time. Pop Thorn should have been in Shipwreck Island or just standalone. But that's just that's really kind of irrelevant here. So let's back out here. I've talked to him, so you don't have to listen to him now. He's kind of complicated to explain. Let me get the Sky Diamond off the portal for you. It is important to note I have two Pop Thorns. This is the one that is still sealed in the Tower of Time. The reason for that, I plan to do the base upgrades with him and then take the Tough and Puffed path, simply because I think I will like to control the breather better. Granted, I haven't even seen the base upgrades. I could change my mind, but that's what I'm going to roll with. So here we go. Pop Thorn has two basic states. Right now, he is popped. That is, he's running around on the ground. He's actually fairly quick when he's popped. And then he has a puffed state. To go from popped to puffed, you have to press your primary attack button. In the case of the Wii U, it's Y. And what he looks like now with all the spines and the little wings, he's significantly slower. And he actually kind of like hops and floats as he goes along. That is his puffed state. Now, from the puffed state, he can pop and press your secondary attack button and go back to the more ground-oriented, speed-based pop state. Now, right here, we're just getting, for the sake of keeping this as simple as I can, he's popped right now. When I press the Y button, or your primary attack button on whatever version you're playing, he's going to puff. And this is important because it's a different damage number. So I'm pressing Y, 40 damage. Now, theoretically, we could see a 60 there. I haven't seen one in all my little time playing around here. While he is puffed, when you press the primary attack button again, which is Y on the Wii U, he's going to shoot three little spiny needles at a time. They're going to do 10 to 15. You can actually rapid tap it and basically just sing endlessly, like I'm doing there. Or you can kind of do 1, 2, 3, reposition yourself, 1, 2, 3. Now, something that's important to note here, whenever you're puffed and you press the secondary attack button, A on the Wii U, you're going to pop, and that's going to throw out a bigger gust of wind. That's going to do some pretty high damage for what it is, really. So I'm pressing A, there's 25. Theoretically, I think that would be, what, 75? Yeah, so like 38, 25 to 38 probably if we had a critical number there. However, while he is popped, you can either puff back up like I've shown you, or you can basically just do gusts of wind. They're going to go 9 to 14, you can hold that down continuously. That is how I use my money short with the Sky Diamonds. So, speaking of Sky Diamonds, you need 9,088 to fully upgrade a Newlander here. I think that pretty well covers it. It sounds weird, but once you've played with him, you kind of pick up on it. That said, all the prices you're going to see here, I've got 18 Wing Sapphires, 36% discount. We're going to get started with Fresh Breath. The price here is $320. Press A to pop. After popping, hold A to shoot more powerful air projectiles. Keyword here, for a short time. So we're going to go ahead and pick that up. And what I'm thinking is it'll be just what it says. instead of 9 to 14, you'll see something higher, and then I guess revert back to the original 9 to 14. Next up is Puffball Pound for 448. Press Y to puff. Press X while puffed to slam into the ground, damaging all nearby enemies. I'm going to go ahead and buy that. Alright, let's see here. You can do this one too. Polished spikes. Press Y to puff. After puffing, press Y rapidly to shoot more powerful spike projectiles. Keyword once again, for a short time. So price there, 576. Let's go ahead and pick it. And actually, I think we can. So, Wind Trap 768. While popped, press X to leave behind a spiny mine. The mine puffs and explodes when enemies approach, launching them into the air. So we're gonna go ahead and buy this. Now right here you get to the point where you pick a path. Without me having seen any of these base upgrades, I just personally think that I prefer his breath attack because I've just been spamming it for an eternity to get money for all my Skylanders, so I guess I've kind of grown fond of it. It's one of those things that's kind of like trigger happy. It's not a huge number, but the simple fact is he can fire it off so fast it kind of overrides one of those big numbers that's kind of got a slower hit or recharge time to it. So I think I'm going to take this guy down tough and puff. That's a different video though. So we will back out of there. Now what I want to do right now, he was popped that whole time. I'm going to puff. I'm just going to come back in here. Okay, so if you ever want a good look at your Pop Thorn, he will take on the state in the power pod that he had. Now, what did we buy? We began... Dadgum, I hit this by accident. Roller... No. Fresh Breath. That's what we got first. But I think since we're puffed, we're going to show Puffball Town. This is kind of it's an interesting deal. Fresh Breath, I like the setup. It's just pretty much like Scratch. Fresh Breath upgrades the secondary attack. Polished Spikes upgrades the primary. Puffball Pound is the tertiary for the primary. And Wind Trap is the tertiary for the secondary. If that makes any sense to you. Hopefully it does. If not, stay tuned. We're going to explain it all in excruciatingly detailed detail. While he's puffed, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to press the X button. This should initiate the Puffball Pound. So let's see what we can do here. 55, that's a really... I guess it makes sense since he's spiked, but that's an impressive number. Apparently you can... He's standing on his tail, you can't move, but you can spin 360 degrees, which... it's a shame he can't walk even if it was slow, but it's still pretty cool. Looks like it has a good radius as well. I mean, let's try to go right between. Yeah, I mean, you get the general idea. It's pretty impressive. 55 is the number for Puffball Town. What would that be? 165 divided by 2. So, 85? No, 83, I think. Don't hold me to this. I know it's not late, particularly for me, but I am extremely tired. I'll tentatively put 55 to 83 there. Let's see, he is still puffed. So what I'm going to do now is try to showcase polished spikes. This is a deal where you were puffed already, and then we're just going to press Y rapidly to shoot more powerful spike projectiles for a short time. So he was doing 10 to 15 on the spikes. Let's see. 17 to 26. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, 17 to 26 on spikes, and I'm going to try to count the duration now. So here we go. So apparently you'd have to reinitiate that. So let's try it again. Let me see if puffing doesn't work. It does not. So here we go. Let's try this again. gonna go with 6 seconds. I could be off there, but you get the general idea. It's roughly 5 seconds, you can say, if you want to be more guesstimate-ish, I suppose, if that's not a word it should be, because we just used it. Anyway, Wind Trap is up next. This one is basically, actually, no. Let's do Fresh Breath before we do that. Fresh Breath is going to be, while we're popped, which we just did, and do the 25 damage, it's going to be the same concept as Polish Spikes, but instead of the, what was he, 9 to 14 on the Gus, for a short time, he should be higher than that. So let's see what we get. 14 to 21. Yeah, so 14 to 21. Let me try to count the time. It's probably going to be the same 5-6 seconds. So, I'm gonna go 6 seconds again. To me, that 6 seconds is probably really 5 or something, or they just picked random numbers like 6. I don't know, but it is what it is. Next up is Wind Trap. That's going to be the tertiary attack while we're popped, which we are now, which is kind of like akin to a secondary attack. So this is like the tertiary version 2. Tertiary version 1, of course, was Puffball Town, which was 55. Did not expect near that kind of damage. That said, Wind Trap is going to leave behind the mines. So here I am, going to press the X button after I yawn, and we'll try to see what we get. I'm sorry, I pushed it. Alright, here and now I'm going to press it. I think I had that too far. Okay, so 20 on an explosion. Looks like you can have 3 active. Pretty good blast. Note that as I like place the 4th one, the 3rd one blows up. There's 3 active at once. So it really is the 4th one that's being placed that triggers. But that's a nice blast radius there. I mean, for something that small and insignificant looking. So Wind Trap is going to be, what, 20 to 30, we can assume would be the critical. And then up to 3 mines at the time. So, that is his base upgrades, actually. So real nice, neat, orderly. It is a little complicated in terms of like things overlapping and requiring certain moves and repetitions of moves you've already done, but I think it should make sense to you. So far so good. The biggest surprise to me, Puffball Pound. I figured that would be something kind of like Wind Trap, you know, was somewhere like 20, maybe 30 maximum, and that sucker non-critical's 55, which is pretty impressive. Fresh Breath, cannot complain about that. It was actually good enough, totally box stock in my opinion. But Polish Spikes, kind of the same situation there. Wind Trap, I can see that actually being useful, particularly if you're like me and kind of prefer the breathed breath attacks, gust attacks, whatever, from being popped as opposed to the puff attacks and the spines. That said, he's got the 2 paths, Tough and Puffed, and then Controlled Breather. I think I'll go with Controlled Breather on my unboxed one, just because I think I would like it better. That said, Tough and Puffed, kind of reminiscent of a Wrecking Ball type thing, so a lot of people might prefer that. That's what I'm actually going to take this guy down. Problem is, we're going to do that in the next video. Speaking of videos, there will be 3 standalone videos for Pop Thorn. Take the link at the top of the video description box. You will be taken to a post dedicated solely to Skyland's cutest Skylander, Pop Thorn, as voted on by you, the fans. You're going to see this video here, his base upgrades. You will see a video for Tough and Puffed with the Soul Gem, and then you'll see a video for Controlled Breather. In addition to that, you will have my spreadsheet where I have all the damage numbers documented. It should make sense to you. If it doesn't, I assure you after watching the videos you will understand my shorthand or lingo or whatever it is that I've pinned out. So stay tuned for that. As always, make sure you are subscribed. That will keep you up with all the latest. You can follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, circle me on Google+, whichever you prefer. Again, thanks for watching, and I will catch you back here as we take a look at Pop Thorn's Tough and Puffed Path.